Welcome back to the Bitcoin Treasuries podcast. I'm Tim Kotzman. I'm here with Sander Andersen, the CEO of H100 Group. Sander, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So the last time we spoke a few weeks ago, you guys were just getting started with acquiring Bitcoin, and I think there's quite a few updates. Can you kind of walk us through the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been some quite interesting weeks. I think last time we spoke, we had both the first 4.39 BTC, and since then we have closed 2 convertible notes and an equity round of 6.9 million USD. So we have basically accelerated our strategy. Quite committed to raise as much Bitcoin as we can and prove to our shareholder that we can increase Bitcoin per share.
Awesome. Can you walk us through some of the financings and to the extent that you can, who all was involved and why that's meaningful?
Yeah, so the first convertible note was led by Adam Back. We did it at around 1.3 Swedish krona per share. Current price is around 4.6. It's been a crazy ride, but we closed that together with a few of our local family office network. And then we quite quickly decided with Adam to do a convertible note tranche system, which basically laid out 5 different tranches that we was able to, or has the opportunity to raise up to 27.7 million USD or 277 million Swedish kroner. And basically how it works is that those that participate in the tranche 1 will then follow with Adam into tranche 2, and then it rolls over. It's a 5-year maturity, 0 interest rates. And if the share price is 20%, 33% above the strike or at the price where the investor commit, the company has the opportunity to convert it. And we will also from tranche 2 to 5 make it possible to do a Bitcoin denominated loans. So this will basically ensure that we was able to have the opportunity to raise a significant amount of money looking back from the size the company were. But since the stock price has rallied quite a lot, it makes us a very good incentive for us as a company and the investors to increase Bitcoin per share in a very comfortable way for every participant.
What questions and feedback have you received from investors over the past couple of weeks? I'm sure you've gotten comments, questions. What has that been like?
So I think doing this in the Nordics, my hypothesis was that Nordic lagged a little bit. So we were the first one in Sweden. I was very few players back then. It feels a long time ago, but since then, multiple players, which we're very glad to see, that are executing either the Microstrategy playbook or different variants of that. So I think in the Nordic community, we have a lot of questions like, why? Why Bitcoin Treasury at all? And we spend a lot of time educating TradFi and family offices of, first of all, the value of Bitcoin and then the value in the balance sheet. But then on the more international scene where we see the big names has been for a couple of, for quite some time, they are more interesting. Okay, how fast can you raise? How much Bitcoin can you accumulate? And we have in the last days or weeks raised and closed around 12 million that will soon be deployed into BTC. So it's a mix really. I think Adam, of course, gave us a wonderful opportunity to execute this strategy. We were able to tap into his mind. He has been super supportive. And that also brought in the recent round UTXO with Tyler and his team, and also early stage Bitcoiners like Brad Mills, which makes us also do the social media thing, accelerating. And of course, there is more simple question like where can I buy, why MNAV. We still have a lot of things to do on the communication side to show all the metrics, but this has happened quite quickly, and the team is trying to catch up.
Yeah, I guess how do you think through, or how do you think right now of the media side? Because there's the capital side, which it seems like there's a lot of great opportunity on, and then there's media, both traditional and social media. How do you approach that? My eyes were open when I was at the conference in Vegas. I was in the booth talking to one of the Steak and Shake representatives, and of course they rolled out Bitcoin. They're accepting it as payment, and they just kind of said, "Hey, we didn't realize we are going to get all of this outreach and opportunity and a warm reception." And they said we also didn't really, put our arms around that. There's like 5 bajillion different podcasts, and like which one has 34 viewers and which one is okay, and like there's a lot to consider. So I guess how are you going to run around and do every single podcast, or how are you kind of thinking through the traditional and social media aspects, I guess?
I think education is super important, and communication is a key element of that. So I try to be available if I have time. I have 2 kids and a soon to be wife at home, so I have a little bit limited of time. But if I have time, I will be out there and educate and let people understand why we believe in Bitcoin. I'm personally, what I like with Bitcoin is that we are all shareholder of Bitcoin Corporation, and everything we do that benefits Bitcoin benefits everyone that are holders of Bitcoin or even a few sats. So for me, we try to be out there. We try to, speak to the community as much as we can, so we also can get feedback and, execute on our strategy.
And you mentioned educating on the investor side. When you go to a family office or an institution, when you're sitting across a kitchen table or a conference table from someone, like, what is your process? Do you have like the Bitcoin standard book with you? Do you have like a slide deck that's like, here's what Bitcoin is and here's why we value it the way we do? Or like, what's that process like, in addition to assuming that it's a conversation?
I think it normally works backwards, because the first question you get is why the premium? So why are people willing to pay premium on the Bitcoin when they could just go to an exchange? So we basically try to reverse engineer that question, but I think to do that you need to let them understand the value of Bitcoin and why that is a great asset. And you start with historical data, and actually show them that yes, it's volatile, and then you spend a lot of time to try to educate them that volatility is not risk, but the risk is loss of capital permanently. That's at least how we see it. And the moment when they understand that volatility is part of the journey and the upside compared to the drawdowns are quite significant, we can then move on to help them understand why a public vehicle will do Bitcoin Treasury strategies and why Bitcoin per share would be or is a very good metric that they should track quite closely. The moment they understand that how you use the capital markets with, first of all, how you raise debt, for example, it's quite unique in how you use fiat money to buy Bitcoin, and you doesn't need to pay back before 5 years with 0 interest rates and basically no liquidation risk during those 5 years. They start to click, okay, they understand it, and then you add the social media and the community on top, and then they gradually move into being at least a curious investor into the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Got it. And how do you think through the Bitcoin buying side of it? Is it similar to strategy where the money comes in and within a couple hours or a couple days, you're just kind of in the market buying Bitcoin? Or is it something more nuanced than that where you're like, we'll kind of, buy a little now, wait for a dip? I mean, any specific methodology or I guess what's the approach there?
Uh, I've been actively investing for quite some time, and for me, the moment you have the money, you should just buy. That's my philosophy. Right now, the reason why we haven't bought more is that it actually takes in the traditional finance industry, it takes some time to move money around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually takes some time before we're able to buy. But that's the only reason why we haven't bought more with the current money we have.
Got it. And could you describe kind of the current regulatory environment in your market? Is it similar to the U.S.? Is it following the U.S. as far as clarity when it comes to the entire industry? Or could you kind of give us a lay of the landscape there?
Yeah, so Europe follow the US quite closely. We also have the MiCA regulation that are quite clear. At least you can understand at least something. I have a lot of critique to that. But it at least make the regulatory environment quite clear, especially for Bitcoin. You know what it is. You know what it is in your balance sheet. You know how to tax it or not tax it, and quite easy to structure it right now, and especially in a regulated market like a public company, it starts to be quite clear. I think a lot of the regulatory risk is short, a lot of the regulatory risk is not there in the same way anymore, especially after what the US has done. I'm actually way more scared about the stablecoin regulation in Europe compared to the regulation that touched Bitcoin.
Got it. How do you see the rest of 2025 and 2026 kind of playing out? We hear a lot of announcements about and talk about additional Bitcoin Treasury companies popping up in different capital markets. Any thoughts on that versus other ways for new companies to kind of differentiate themselves? For example, if there's a company that's going to launch in the United States, they're not going to be the first or second one, but maybe there's possibly ways that they could still differentiate themselves.
Yeah, I think I think we will see a lot of the companies that have high margins and cash flow starting to buy Bitcoin in a non-dilutive way. I think that is a way to differentiate themselves. I think we'll see way more tokenized product that are Bitcoin native, like on the Liquid side chain, for example. I think that is a way to connect with the Bitcoiners directly and raise from them with them in a new way. So fully tokenized Bitcoin Treasury companies. I think that will be quite cool to see, or fully tokenized convertible notes, or fully tokenized equity rounds into Bitcoin Treasury companies. That would be a quite interesting way of creating Bitcoin native yield, Bitcoin to Bitcoin. But I still think that we'll see Bitcoin Treasury companies popping up in every market. I think a lot of them will not be able to get premium, which will open up for a huge M&A market. I think we'll see a lot of, especially mergers, where you see some has more skills on one part of what's important and another one has another. So they see synergies together. I actually expect quite a lot of M&A, maybe not in 2025, but in 2026, we'll definitely see those M&A people coming into the market and figure out a way to combine them, have multiple listings, combine them into one brand and one capital structure, and accelerate from there. It's definitely a strategy we are looking at ourselves to see how we could, find opportunities in the market where it's some balance sheets that are not catching up the premium that they should.
Well, I super appreciate your time today. I'll throw it over to you if you have any closing thoughts, and if you could let people know where they can find you and the firm online.
Yeah, so our website is H100 Group. We'll soon update with our new orange colors. I'm very much looking forward to that. And you can find me at Sandra Andersen at X and H100 Group on X as well. We'll try to be as accessible as possible on X.
Awesome. Sandra Andersen, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Bitcoin custody is evolving, and OnRamp leads this change with multi-institution custody, eliminating single points of failure. Instead of one institution or complex private keys, OnRamp secures your Bitcoin in a segregated, cold storage, multi-sig vault backed by 3 independent, institutional-grade custodians. No single custodian can move funds by themselves, providing an unprecedented level of security that traditional custody solutions simply can't match. Protected by a $100 million Lloyd's of London insurance policy, all transactions are fully auditable on-chain, never rehypothecated, and executed only at your explicit direction. This means complete transparency and control over your assets at all times. Beyond custody, OnRamp delivers comprehensive Bitcoin financial services, including lending, trading, inheritance planning, IRAs, and more. OnRamp functions as your private banking partner, coordinating key holder activity, removing technical burdens, and providing a personalized, trust-minimized experience tailored to your specific wealth preservation goals. Whether you're new to Bitcoin or an experienced holder, OnRamp's approach helps secure generational wealth with unmatched security and peace of mind. Visit onrampbitcoin.com today to learn more, sign up, or book a free consultation with their team of Bitcoin custody experts. Are you looking for comprehensive analytics on corporate Bitcoin adoption? Strategy Tracker delivers real-time insights into how companies are executing their Bitcoin strategies completely free. Monitor NAV premiums, cost basis performance, and track how corporate Bitcoin treasuries perform against the market. Upgrade to premium for just $3.99 a month and unlock exclusive benefits like detailed market rankings, real-time trading volume analysis, and advanced performance metrics for corporations embracing Bitcoin. Apply code KOTZ at checkout for 100% off your first month of premium. Strategy Tracker is your essential tool for measuring the effectiveness of corporate Bitcoin strategies. Visit strategytracker.com and gain the analytical edge in understanding the Bitcoin Treasury phenomenon. Join us at The Win in Las Vegas, February 23rd through the 26th, 2026 for Bitcoin for Corporations. Use code KOTZ when you grab your tickets at strategy.com, and we'll see you there. This episode is brought to you by Arch Lending, the premier provider of crypto-backed loans designed for both individual and institutional investors. At Arch, your digital assets work for you without selling them. Arch offers flexible loan options tailored to your needs. Backed by industry leaders like Morgan Creek Digital, Castle Island Ventures, and Galaxy Ventures, Arch Lending is setting a new standard in crypto-backed lending. Are you ready to unlock the potential of your crypto assets? Visit archlending.com to learn more and configure your loan today.
Europe's richest Bitcoin heritage site. Prague. BTC Prague. the biggest Bitcoin conference on the continent.
Join us June 19th through the 21st for Bitcoin Prague 2025. Use code KOTSMAN when you buy your ticket at btcprague.com. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Stampseed. If you're in cold storage, you know how important it is to protect your seed phrase. That's why I recommend you head over to stampseed.com and check it out for yourself. This seed phrase storage device is one solid piece of titanium. There are no loose pieces, and you can hammer your seed phrase in letter by letter. When you go to stampseed.com, use promo code TIM15 for a 15% discount across the website. That's TIM15.